before we live, I should do the sounds.
Propagate the frequency of cleansing and
Definitely. Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. If you are here, welcome to our Stop Self-Sabotage, that podcast. Today we have some news, but before we jump in our podcast, I introduce all of my guests. I'd like to share a little bit what does self-sabotage means, because we've been talking about so long, half year, about stop self-sabotage. So sabotage are voice in our heads that generate with negative emotions that you handle in your life, everyday's challenge. They respond with some patterns. That pattern may cause you a lot of stress, anxiety, self-doubt, frustration. But how do you get aware that sabotage, then learn some skills that help you break that pattern? Today's self-sabotage, we have very, very amazing guests. And before I introduce my amazing guests, I want to say, here is the way with me, Ria, and our amazing guest is Isabeth. Hi, Isabeth. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Ria. Hi, Wei.
hello.
So
Welcome
today,
to the show.
yes. Well, today I was very excited to talk about this topic because we and I yesterday have a deep dive in with our own self, and we always give me some insight and enlighten me, have that aha moment, and we want to share with all of you today. The topic we will be talking about the hidden opportunity that's behind your triggers.
The hidden opportunity behind, because the reason why it's such a cool topic is because most people run away from the triggers. Most people vilify triggers, make triggers really, really bad, right? And I love what you said, Ria, about the defining what self-sabotage is. And what's so tricky about it is those thoughts and those sabotage patterns, they used to serve a purpose. And really what they were kind of like, you know, birthed from in our life is to protect ourselves, but we never got rid of it. And then so when it's no longer useful, it starts sabotaging our life.
Definitely, as we say, the way how we growing up, the before when we use all of that, because we learn how to protect us. Like some people awarding something, because some people will grow up with abused family. They are awarding to say something to awarding to abuse. But as they are growing up, then they don't need that anymore. But the pattern still stuck there, that affect sabotage themselves
Yeah.
later on with something. So there have many, many different ways. Like before I was thinking, oh, hyperachiever, because that was me. It's very good. I get the things done. I got the goal. I very progress with my things. But that also sabotage me because I always focus what I haven't done. That anxiety then cause panic, well-being. So that all sabotage with that. So what is your sabotage way?
Oh, some of the self-sabotage patterns in my past have been, yeah, the desire to constantly have to prove my value, my worth, because I grew up in a household where, if you got an A minus, it was like, well, why didn't you get an A plus? And then when you did get an A plus, it was like, well, that's how you should be. There was no like congratulations or here's a award. It's always like, okay, it's you only get attention if you don't do well. And so there was always this perception that if this inner child wanted attention, we had to self-sabotage and create a scenario where we would get attention for doing something poorly so that we can remedy it and do better, and then create this vicious cycle of doing well then doing poorly, doing well then doing poorly, and so it became this self-sabotage pattern. But I think before we dive even deeper, really want to have Elizabeth get a chance to introduce herself and then maybe talk a little bit about, because I guarantee she probably has seen all kinds of self-sabotage patterns in the work that she does. So, Elizabeth, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and say who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thanks, Wei. Thanks. And Ria, too. I'm Elizabeth Luna, financial advisor here based in the Bay Area. My firm is called Aria Wealth Management. We help people with their finances. That's basically what I do every day. And it could be anything from helping them with their investments and helping them with their financial planning.
Mhm.
So in a nutshell, that's what I do. As to your question about self-sabotage, yeah, I would say that quite a few of my clients come to me because of that. They realize that, and they're trying to change their behavior. And there is a lot of intersection with psychology and money, right?
Yeah.
I was
So I
really
definitely see. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But one of the biggest ones is what you said earlier, Way, about undervaluing yourself. A lot of people come in to see me because they're scared that they don't know how to handle their finances, or they don't know what to do, or they're so petrified that they're going to do the wrong thing that they wait so long to get help.
And that in itself is a self-sabotage pattern.
Yeah.
Like the non-action, right, when you should be taking action, is also a pattern, right?
I'm
Absolutely.
always excited when before Elizabeth come here today. I was thinking about, yes, Elizabeth is very good with the money, wealth management. So how many people, especially women, sabotage themselves with the money? That I would like dive in a little bit better, a little bit deeper with that. So as the woman, why they sabotage themselves with the money, Elizabeth?
Uh, Again, usually it's because they undervalue their self-worth, right? Because they think that they don't know enough. They think that this topic of finance is too hard. They think sometimes that they don't deserve to grow their wealth, right? So money also for a lot of people, for a lot of women, seems a little bit wrong, bad, right? And so those are the behaviors that I see. And you hear it all the time. When you think about finance and you think about investing, you don't think of women. You don't see women. Those images are very far and few, right? It's so women just naturally, in a way, have grown up over the years thinking that they don't have the acumen to
Right.
understand finance.
Yeah. Would you say it's like almost not only something that they could learn within their own culture, but it could be a societal influence, and maybe through generations of just kind of like how, we shifted from, it's a little bit better now, but from a patriarchal type of society all the way to where it is today. I mean, today is a very different than maybe even just 30, 40 years ago, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more awareness and a lot more understanding. And what's fascinating is, would you say that, money is kind of has become a bit of a scapegoat to hide behind as the true nature, kind of what you're saying, like if a woman herself doesn't value her own worth, it won't just show up in money, right? It'll show up in other areas of life as well, right?
Absolutely, in relationships. How she views her career, not asking for those raises, not, actually, I have a good friend right now, who my son sent me, my son is always sending me links for jobs for friends. And I told her, you should apply for this job. This is a great job for you. And she said, I'm scared. I'm scared. I said, what are you scared? You're just submitting a resume.
Yeah.
That really speaks to how women treat themselves. They don't think, rise to the occasion. What's the worst that can happen, right? I
Right.
interview for this job and I don't get it, but I've learned something.
Right.
But she's scared to even go to that next step because she doesn't think that she has the talent or the skills or the ability to learn those skills.
Mm. What do you think
Successful.
what do you think that's the trigger of? Speaking of triggers, obviously when you talked to her, she was triggered by
Yeah.
the opportunity. Isn't that weird? You get an
Mm.
opportunity and you're triggered by the opportunity. It's not like a negative trigger, it's a positive trigger. You have a positive opportunity in your face and yet you're triggered, right? So
Yeah.
wondering if either of you, right, what you guys think about that. If there's a positive opportunity in front of you and people are saying, "Oh my God, go apply for that," and then you're getting triggered. It seems kind of ironic, doesn't it? Like being triggered by a positive opportunity.
I wanted to
It's
say
true.
it's kind of like we talked about yesterday. The triggers. So as I'm working with a lot of awareness leaders, then awareness leader or spiritual, teacher or something, when they doing things, they always trigger say, "Oh, I don't feel good to ask for money." So then
Mm,
end up they want doing the business then didn't success because they triggers for charge the money for ask for what they work to pay it. So that
mm,
triggers is always hiding there. So why is that trigger? Then they use the words like I said, oh, poor them, this is very bad. I just wanted to help them. I don't feel good to ask money. But the
mm.
window behind the business, then that is broken. You cannot continue to help more people, right? So
Right.
where is that trigger? How is the opportunity behind that trigger?
Mm, yeah. I think Elizabeth, you've seen a lot of that. That just a lot of people just have a poor relationship with money,
Yeah.
right? And I
Hmm.
think the opportunity that you're talking about, Ria, is maybe when you have that aversion to charging money, it's an indication that there's some rapport and some relationship building that needs to happen. It's kind of like it's almost like starting over, right? When you meet somebody new, you don't know anything, but you might be a little bit anxious or apprehensive because it's a new person. But over time, as you really focus on getting to know that person, you build that relationship. Is that something that you see a lot of, Elizabeth, in terms of that hidden opportunity of repairing the relationship they have with money when you're working with women that get triggered around money?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. I think it's just demystifying, how to invest your money or how to
Mm,
take care of your money so it can take care of you. Putting simple, actionable steps, repeatable, scalable, that they can
mhm,
do and they can feel empowered.
mhm,
That really helps. You can change this behavior pretty quickly,
mhm.
and really start building on that. So getting that trigger, sometimes what it takes is something bad has happened, right?
Right.
And that's where they may come to me, whether it's a divorce, a death of a spouse, or they realize, oh gosh, I'm this age and I'm not prepared for retirement. Will I be
Mhm.
able to retire on my own terms? And that's when having a conversation with me really kind of, you can start working on getting them through through these obstacles and get them on a better path.
Yeah, sounds like that's a hidden opportunity, right? Like if you're demystifying it, and what have you seen happen? Give me an example of something that you've demystified for someone and it completely turned their world around and leveraged that money trigger that they had into something, greater or better.
So I think a lot of it is actually just the investing. There are people who think that Maria and I were just talking about this yesterday. Actually, putting your money in a savings account is not investing, right?
Yeah.
That is not investing. And so I do have a lot of women clients who will come to me and say, like, I've got this money here, but now I don't know what to do with it. I'm so scared of losing any of it.
Mm,
Um, and taking that risk. So understanding that investing, yes, it is risk, but it could also be a calculated risk. But there is more of a reward to take a little bit of risk. It doesn't have to be everything.
mhm.
You can take a little bit of risk and you have a better and higher reward than to have your money sitting in an
Right.
investing account.
Where do you think that came from? I mean, I know all of us. I mean, Ria, I talked a little bit about it yesterday. Was it the fear of losing whatever, but the fear of losing money? I mean, that's obviously something that was learned.
I
It's
wanted
not
to
something that you're born with.
share something about that because I work with, like I said, especially some people who's care people, who's like a massage therapist, who's Reiki master, everybody, they say they are more focus on spiritual, not focus on money. That, how is that? Don't you, we come back again, talk about money is the energy. So that come back to, you said is, Isabel, you said is, they don't feel about that. For me, growing up, I think about money to save money is just, oh, I save money for safety. I feel safe. That's why I never have to think about money as investment. That also is why lead to when you save the money, doesn't see the money grow, then you will be take out money from that account. But you said, Isabel, yesterday really enlightened me is when you put your money in some investment, you see that grow. So you wouldn't think about I will be put the money and out, because that grow give you confidence, give you empowered. Instead, you want the safety, right? So that is really great, great. I think highlight. How do the people to change in their mind think about oh, money, I have to save money instead invest money.
So I have a question. So if someone has the fear of losing money and they follow your steps and they force themselves to put money in and invest and they start to watch the money grow, question I have is this. Even though they're seeing the money grow and it gives them safety and peace of mind, does that make the fear of losing money go away?
I don't know if it makes the fear, because there's a lot of things that can cause that, right? External factors that we don't control, right? So, but I think what it does is it solidifies in their lived experience, right? To see this theoretical idea that you can invest the money and it'll grow. They actually see it in their account, right? So they can start trusting and believing that there is a method to this madness called the stock market and our economic markets. And so they'll trust that a little bit more, and they'll trust themselves that they're making the right choices for their future.
Yeah, because I used to have a lot of collaborations and partnerships with financial advisors, wealth advisors, because I'm always curious about, well, you can do things to kind of quell the fear. And some of the people I've worked with before, it's like, yeah, but we noticed that fear really doesn't go away and it kicks up, and no matter how much they've shown their clients that, hey, you're safe, you're good, you just keep doing this. For some reason, it keeps rearing its ugly head, like, oh, you might lose it. And so what I've noticed is it's an interesting phenomena that when you do both, you force yourself to do the right thing with guidance, right? Like someone aligning with you, Elizabeth, and at the same time recognize that fear can be mitigated, that fear can be released, so that you have this. It's almost like those who are in religion, you have this faith and trust in God, like, okay, or in the universe, right? That no matter what, you'll be okay. And that keeps that fear from ever kicking up again, right? You eliminate that trigger, because sometimes the fear gets so bad, you make a bad decision, right? And we want to make sure that the fear is legitimate, or doesn't have you make bad decisions, right?
So I have a question also wanted to ask. So about the money is, except some people they don't like to investment. So what is the better solution or help with if they don't like investment? How do they do with the money?
I would ask why. Why do you not like investment?
Because as you said, some people, they can handle the sense, oh, see the money. Some people will be saying money kind of like a gambling. So you investment, your money go up, then you sometimes then go down. So they don't know when it's go up, go down. So that's emotions up and down. Even you said have the faith, have the sense, but some people doesn't have that. Then if they don't want to do that, what do they do?
Let me guess. Let me guess what Elizabeth's going to say. I think that might be lack of education and understanding what investments are. Is that right?
You got it. Ding, 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 Wade.
Do I get a cookie or a gold star?
Yes, I value you. But truly, that's really what it is, Ria. It's giving them the education, the financial literacy, the understanding, and that they can invest, that they can grow their money, and that it's okay to do that, right? And they can see it in their everyday lives. You know, if you take a loan, you have to pay interest on it, right? So this actually, it's in everything we do. So if they can understand that they have been participating in one way or another in the overall economy, they'll get a sense of comfort with this over time. And there's different ways. So, you know, one way is being invested in the equities market. Another way is to have real estate investments. There's so many different ways that people can use their money to grow it for themselves. So
I learned that too, because Ria, what you're saying, I used to think that way too. I was like, life is a big enough gamble enough for me. I don't need to invest in anything and take another gamble, right? But now my portfolio has the gambler on one side of it, and my other side of it is like super conservative. Like it always goes up and never goes down, but it goes up really, really small increments. I mean, like, you know, 5%, 6% versus the other side, which is like some years it's like 18%, and next year it's like 10.
I wanted to say that's why I always tell my daughter. I always now I'm a single mom, raise my daughter. I always tell my daughter. So the money, I think save money is good, but the money is creativity. Think about your money. If you save in there, kind of like the lake, that slowly maybe draining. But if you use that money, then think about how do you create your investment, or maybe you open that lake to connect to the ocean, so that lets the money come in, flow in there. So think about the money is creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. Another way I think about money, because I'm an entrepreneur, I think about every dollar as an employee, right? Right.
So how
What
do
am
you
I going
treat
to have?
your employee? Is
Yeah.
good or bad?
Yeah. How do I task my employee to help me build whatever it is I want to build. So if I'm thinking about investing, it's like, okay, I have $100. I have 100 employees that I want them to work to build their team. So 100 goes to 1,000, goes to whatever the case may be. And then just think of it that way. So I think a reframe, if you will, of how you look at money and relationship with money. I love that creativity piece because your daughter's creative and she's a, you know, designer and everything like that. And I think for people who are entrepreneurs, if they start thinking that, you know, money can also be a form of employment, like they're employing the money to work for them, right? That would be another way to look at, you know, what investing and everything like that. And, you know, all these things again is to, if you didn't get triggered by money, you wouldn't have to think about these things. But I think what we're talking about is all these different hidden opportunities of being able to understand ourselves more, because money at the end of the day is just another tool, right? And if money has been triggering you, well, let's use that as a tool to understand the opportunity of what we can do to grow as a result of that trigger. And I think that's really a lot of what we're talking about here. Because Elizabeth, you probably work with people for a long time, right? And you've probably seen them grow as a result of them, you know, navigating the triggers of life, especially around money, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've seen people come in with no idea what they wanted to do, right? But they knew that they had to do something. What were they going to do? What, you know, so in helping them define what their goals are, and take their assets, you know, and that could be their job, they could be their savings, and start, you know, matching those up and saying, you're here now. We have to find where you're at. Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, and work towards those milestones.
And what have you seen change in their life outside of money as a result of them managing those money triggers that you saw them have and no longer have anymore? Have you seen, I mean, you probably know them very personally, right? After a while. What have you seen has been like the biggest shift as a result of them like resolving those triggers that they got from just dealing with money?
Yeah, well, you know, so my company's tagline is creating harmony in your financial life. And I think that's really what will happen through this process working with them, is that they'll get a sense of peace, of a little bit of tranquility, and they'll know where they're going, what their direction they're heading. And these bumps along the road, like Ria said, if the market's going up, market's going down, they'll know that what we are doing is going to help them weather those types of yeah, changes. So I think it's peace, right? Being able to sleep at night and not stressing. Life is, if you've got kids, if you've got a business, or you've got a stressful job, money hopefully is not something that you need to stay up at night worrying about.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Well, I'm curious for both of you personally, when you've achieved a peace of mind, what have you seen personally in your lives that has shifted as a result of peace of mind? Either of you, I'm curious.
I want to say for me, it's really interesting to think about because when I was younger doing the business, I just keep doing it. So what is work, what not work, doesn't relate with how much emotions behind that, how much triggers with that. As now become transformation healing coach, then relate with how the energy, how the emotions with the money, with the relationship. It's really interesting for me to think about the harmony of the money. I think with the number one things we talk about self-love and the self-confidence, it's all come from related with emotion, even creativity. Is how do you can find that within, then observe the money as the tool, like a way you said, not basic to achieve then basically the money with the emotion like the market up and down. So how to manage that, I think for me to learning to resonate with my emotions, then be more observed, then learning a little bit more how to manage the money, give me peace of the mind.
And Elizabeth, how about you? What have you seen like has been one of the most palpable shifts in your life when you were able to achieve a certain level of peace of mind in your journey as a whole?
A redirection, I think, of my energy. Being stressed about money or stressed about your relationships really takes up a lot of your energy, right? So it leaves you very spent, very exhausted. And having peace of mind, you're able to take that energy, shift it to something else, maybe towards creativity, better work-life balance. For me, last year, I went on so many trips. Right?
I know.
Right?
I think, yeah, half the year we were like, oh, she's on another vacation.
I'm
Okay,
on
cool.
another trip. So I got to do a lot of travel, and I think that was part of, from COVID and working on this journey, coming to a point where, yeah, I feel good now. I can take these trips and travel and do the things that I want to do now. Yeah, and talking to Ria yesterday, I think that Ria really inspires me because she tells me that why not now, right? That was the message I heard yesterday. I went to church yesterday, last Wednesday. Why not now? What are you waiting for? So I think having being calm and having peace, that opens up your possibility, your world to doing so many different things.
Yeah, I love that question. And where was I in that conversation? I was like, hey, no, but I love that question because it's such a great question if someone wants to identify their triggers, right? Because the reason why you would ask that if there's hesitation to take action on something, right? I know for the peace of mind, the different levels of peace of mind that I've experienced in life has, for me, like you were saying, Elizabeth, opened up a higher level of creativity. I know just recently, the peace of mind that I have that I can trust my teams to take all these different things off my plate, the amount of algorithms and formulas that I've been able to download for our platform has been tremendous. I don't think I've ever experienced this much bandwidth of creativity as a result of this peace of mind, right? But going back to what you two were talking about yesterday, the why not now, right? And there's something to be said about that because all we have is now, really. We don't have the future yet. The past is out of our grasp. We can't do anything with it. Why not now? And And I think that is a great opening question that if there's hesitation and there's a conflict within you about making a decision because there's a part of you that says, I need to make this decision or I want to make this decision rather. And there's a part of you that says, not now. And so I think embedded in that is that hidden opportunity of identifying a trigger that has been a pattern of holding you back all your life. And that question that you just said, Elizabeth, why not now? Yeah. Why not now?
So this is the yummy information, and we share all of these things. Time passed by quick. We already share our ideas, our triggers, opportunity, the money, the relationship. Everything here is already 1 hour now. So we will be end our conversation for now. Then I want to, before we close this, so how do that is come back to the question yesterday we shared, and to today we ask again. So why now? So what you can do now than to find your triggers that with the hidden opportunity behind that trigger. Just think about if you are listening this podcast, if you think about what is your trigger, how do you can shift your trigger to the convert to some gift, to some opportunity. So you can make comment below, and if you have any questions, please send an email, make comment on there to find to looking for us, Ria, Wei, and Isabel here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone. So before we close, do you have anything, any words you want to give? One word or two words to our audience? Wei
Me?
and
Yeah,
Isabel.
sure. I love triggers because, when we get triggered, our unconscious mind is telling us, hey, here's an opportunity for us to release, let go, and grow. If we have the fortitude to say, to pause, to step into it and just ask the question like, why not? Or how is it a problem? Or whatever it is, just getting curious as to where this learned behavior to get triggered came from, right? So that's something to think about there. How about you, Elizabeth?
Let's say I love the idea that triggers are opportunities. I would say opportunity. And I know you both have heard me say this, that even when things are bad, there's always an opportunity. There's either something to be learned, or there could be even an investment opportunity. So
Yeah.
I love that idea that every day presents to us so many opportunities.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Think about it. We want you to take away from today's podcast. Think about the triggers is opportunity instead of the negative. So looking for what is your next opportunity.